Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 499. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What up?
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
It took 8 years to make the game, and it'll be dead in 8 months.
Probably less than that, you know? Oh, man, I want to work that into the show eventually because fucking hilarious. All right, man, we are back. No Chris action tonight. He'll be back soon, but we're talking about the Gamescom because that has been the talk of the town this week. And as usual, there's a lot of drama, as you can see from the title of this episode. Anyway, so I'm going to read this IGN article, all the biggest announcements, but obviously if they miss something, you guys here could fill in the gaps. So let's get into it, man. Again, no. Yeah, hi, Jossie. No. Talking to your cat.
Cat stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. This is whatever order they picked them in. Diablo 4 developers on why fans will love the new region. Brett, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because you weren't here when we talked about this Diablo 4 news before. Does anybody care at this point?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they burned a lot of bridges by being so obvious with their kind of predatory monetization practices. I mean, like, dude, like an outfit costs $20. What the fuck is that? Like, and I get that people need to get paid, and I get that people that create the assets need to get paid, but that is an unreasonable ask. No matter how you cut it, you know what I mean?
That's like way worse than horse armor.
Oh no, it's significantly worse than horse armor. It was some of the worst in the industry, and like they're like, oh, we're making seasons. Before they even made it up to customers, they came out with a paid expansion, right? Like they had like 2 seasons where they were kind of kicking shit down the road. Excuse me, kicking shit down the road and not fixing the issues that they needed to, like certain types of like gemstones not stacking and not having their own tab, gear not working right, buffs not working right, just the math in the game itself not working right, and this is all on top of like the heavy monetization. And for me, it was like them like clearly just embarrassing themselves. You know, I think I told this story before, but for me, it really came down to like every time there was a problem, they're like, "Oh, we'll get to that after season 2," which at that point, like they had just released, so it was like 6 months down the road for like basic quality of life fixes. But oh no, every time somebody found something like a cave that had like a group of elites that were too close together, and they made a YouTube video like, hey man, here's a great farming spot, the next hot YouTube blah 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 loot cave Diablo found, blah 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 blah, as YouTubers tend to do, because there's an entire economy of people profiting off of this, right? Like there's an entire economy of YouTubers who make this their job, and there is an entire group of people who play along in the background or watch these people's live streams. You know, like they pull people in by being like, hey, check out these build videos. And then they'll, you know, or, you know, like, hey, we're going to go over some of the updates and how that changes, you know, like what that's going to mean to you. And so some people who don't want to read the patch notes or don't want to figure out how to do their build or who don't like theory crafting in general, that's a great gateway for them. And then they kind of pull them into Twitch streamers, right? So it is automatically a good place for them to be, right? So like the fact that they seemed to be following and trying to actively subvert this community built around their game seemed kind of honestly illogical to me. Like one of the things that makes the Soul series so successful is it kind of builds and breeds that community, and why you would want to make all of this information outdated as opposed to using them as Nexus choke points. Like, okay, so if everybody's like just drawn to a certain loot cave, right? Like, okay, cool. Maybe they'll group up. You know, maybe you use that to kind of build something in game. I don't know. Like, do things with your community. But every time that happened, oh man, within like 24 to 48 hours too, that shit was immediately fixed. So they showed a sense of urgency in the wrong direction, almost treating their fan base as their enemies, and like I really didn't like that. And then when it came time to like showing, they were showing like the people who designed their dungeons, and I swear to God, and to some people this won't make sense, so I'll try and break it down into like basic human translated from super nerd. So like in Diablo, you have a basic rhythm of your thing. You have a set of core skills, and these are usually light damaging, somewhat quick skills that don't really cost anything to use. And these usually are used to sort of like generate your secondary or your primary or whatever resource, like rage or mana or what have you. And so you kind of have that, and then your main abilities, and then your like core abilities are ones that usually expend that mana. And then you have your special abilities on that are kind of situational, but also cost that resource thing. So a lot of times you're leading back to like, you know, ability 1, ability 1, ability 1, spend it with ability 2, ability 1, ability 1, ability 1, cast the ability 3 so you gets the cooldown, cast the ability 2, chain them together, do something fancy. Now that's relevant because you can do that branch in one of like several different ways. So like, if you're a mage, right, you have one core skill and one basic skill for like ice, and one for fire, and one for teleportation, and one for fuckery, and you know, just whatever, right? And so you can generally pick a branch and kind of specialize in, I'm going to be a mage, but I want to be an ice mage. And then you can kind of lean towards like, oh, and I want to be an ice mage that has a little bit more points in ice armor versus this other thing. And that's where a lot of your main customization comes from, mixed with your gear. Now, the reason that's important is the people who designed the fucking dungeons had a loadout of nothing but the basic skills, the things that generate your core resource, with no skills on their hotbar that actually spent that resource. Like, I'm really trying to break down how fundamentally terrible that is. You had a bunch of like skills that generated mana, and then no skills that spent mana. As the people who are designing content for that game, that feels kind of mind-numbingly bad. Like, how are you this bad at your own game? And then the thing that really got to me was when you're playing the game either on a mouse or keyboard, you either spend a million, you know, you wear out your joystick by clicking the attack a million times, or you just press it down and hold it. Like, which is what every sane person who's played the game for more than 5 minutes does, right? And in watching these people live stream, they were still clicking their mouses, which showed like these people haven't even spent the most basic fundamental time. Like they haven't understood the basic mechanics of the game, nor do they have the basic quality of life reflexes of anybody who has played it for any amount of time. Because like as soon as you're like, oh, I can just hold it down, like within like 20 minutes, you're like, my fucking finger's getting tired. Can I just hold this shit down? Like it's something that happens in like the first day, man. So like I don't know how you can be this detached and still making content for the game. And for me, that explained so much. Everything just suddenly clicked. Like why the content seemed clunky and unfun sometimes. Why the flow of the game was all weird and certain parts were too hard and other parts were too easy, as if you didn't understand the basic layout of what you were doing. And the fact that they were definitely stopping people from like getting good gear because they wanted to draw out the power creep, right? Every time they adjusted stuff, they were trying to make people less powerful. And in a power fantasy game, it feels bad, man. And they did that on purpose so that you would buy shit. And it's everything that is wrong with the game. And here's the problem. If you had kind of exclusivity, if you had the industry by the balls, you could do that. But because you spent so long actually doing the thing that the community was asking for, you spent 10 years making a spiritual successor to Diablo 2. And that was too fucking long because somebody else did it. And they did it so well that they stole a majority of your community from you. Granted, the release of Diablo 4 pulled them back for a minute, and that was your opportunity, Blizzard, to really dig in and be like, we fucking invented this shit. We will show you how it's done. But instead, you showed up half trying and delivered a poor excuse for an experience as soon as you level capped. And then promised in 6 months, we'll make it better.
And they didn't. Obviously. That's crazy, man.
And a lot of people say, hey, you can go fuck yourselves. Path of Exile, which has done shit better than you before, is not only coming out with a sequel, but historically have been very upfront. Yes, you have to pay for a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, you have to buy each class individually. But you know what? You don't have to buy the game. You don't have to buy the expansions. It's pretty clear, like, you can spend a lot of money on Path of Exile. I'm not saying that you can. I'm not even saying that the pricing structure of Path of Exile is great. I much prefer just just buy the game. Just buy the game. And then that's the end of it until an expansion comes out, and then you'll pay money for more content, which I was fine with. I was just, yeah, cool. Like, every 6 months you want to deliver me a $40 expansion, I'll pay that shit because I'm getting my money's worth. I'm getting my time versus my money's worth. It's less than the cost of a new video game, and usually, on things like a World of Warcraft expansion, man, you get 100 and 200 hours out of that shit. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like they took the black pill. They sold their soul, and they paid for it. And I think the community has largely realized, even the casual ones, they're just like, look, man, I'm just looking to sit back and play a game. They've kind of realized, like, hey, man, this kind of sucks. Because, like, when you do, even the casual gamer will get to the end of the game eventually, and when that feels bad and exploitative, they're going to stop. And then the people that are still playing are going to be like, man, there's a lot less players in there. Where is everybody? Suddenly the game feels like a ghost town, and everything seems super expensive. And eventually it's just going to collapse in on itself. They'll try a couple more expansions, and then they'll just move the fuck on. Because it's not going to make the money. And unlike Diablo 3, which did a massive turnaround, Diablo 3 did a massive turnaround because it came out with like a predatory practice of like the public auction house, but they walked all that stuff backwards. And the difference here is it feels like this time Blizzard is doubling down. And as somebody who just loves ARPGs and loves the Diablo franchise and honestly wants to love Diablo because I love the campaign. I loved it until we got to the end part, and just the poorly balanced, thinly veiled exploitation that makes you feel bad enough to pay them real world money is not a vibe I really want to be in, man.
Yeah, that's disappointing for like Diablo fans, man. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, especially when you wait for so long and then you hear like, hey, they're doing that spiritual successor for Diablo 2 that you always wanted. Like, yeah, man, like it sucks. It hurts. But it is what it is, because Path of Exile looks so awesome. And it's gonna have so many more classes, and it just seems so much more well done. And it seemed like it. I guess at the end of the day, as long as I have the experience that I want, and it's a superior experience, I'm gonna be happy. It's just a shame that Diablo's not that anymore, and I'm walking away from another franchise that I used to love.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme with a lot of us, especially me, but we're not going to get into that. Let's move on here. Monster Hunter Wilds people, they had a new gameplay demo and interviews. And Brian, I'm going to pull you in here because you were telling us some pretty cool stuff about this game. So what did you see that stood out?
Oh, man. So many things. I guess the biggest one that people like so far is the fact that the outfits are now gender neutral, so any character can wear the male and female armor if you so please. Apparently this was a really big thing that went down really well with a lot of people because they felt that for the most part the female armor sets kind of got the short end of the stick and they weren't really as good as the male armor sets. So now being able to actually wear whichever one that you want, everyone's very happy about that, which is fantastic. let's see. The big things is every weapon got a slight change to one or two mechanics, which again I'm still going through and still finding out. There's always like the new move set in there or slightly changed move sets. But the other big thing is that there's no more dedicated like hub per se. It's more you load into the map and then you can pretty much just start a hunt and end a hunt while being on the same map. So no more you start the hunt in a hub, you load the world, you do the hunt, then you load back into the hub. There's none of that. It's just you load into the world, you do your hunts, X many that you want, repeat, and it's great. Turf wars are back because
Yes.
of course they have to
Let
be back.
them fight.
Again, it's lots of very small things like that. One of the other cool things that I am really excited about is the map is now 3D. So apparently that was a really big issue with World, is because the maps had lots more verticality. When you seen them in like the mini map, it was just really hard to navigate. So 3D mini maps makes life a whole lot easier. And yeah, it just looks really good. Everyone's been saying that it's really nice, and everyone's been saying that they are really liking the small changes, which seem to be quality of life stuff. I'm more excited to see how the openness of the worlds will be in terms of how many there will be and how you progress through the story, because again, it makes sense that you go to a hub world, invite your friends to the hunt, and then you start the hunt. So how do you do that when there's no like hub per se? Like how do you invite your friends in to join you? Because they've shown off the SOS flare where you just send out the invites and then people can join you, but at the same time, how do you get friends to join you if you only want your friends to join? So still not sure about that, but I'm certain that there's something.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, Brian, like, how do you like brew stuff, like get shit upgraded, all the things that you would do in the hub, right? Like take on quests. Like, did they explain any of that?
Possibly. I kind of skipped to where actually we're doing the hunts. But from what I've seen, there's still your camps as there were, and you can place like field camps throughout the map, and these camps kind of act as your resources or your resource hubs. So that's where you can go and refill your potions and refill your equipment. But I would guess in the main tents, that's where you'd like craft your armor sets and stuff like that. One of the other cool things that I've seen is when you do fire the SOS flare, you have the option to have AI companions just join in, and they seem to be pretty decent. Like the AI seems to know. Well, I say no. The AI seems to be aware as to what's going on and will try and do the right stuff. So, for example, during a hunt, the hunter shot down a vine trap which traps a monster. So they were stood in a way that they put the vine trap between themselves and the monster, and the AI was able to recognize that and kind of stand the same side as the hunter in order to try and lure the monster to the same vine trap, which is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Another thing is the monster was going to sleep, so the companions didn't just go in and attack the monster. They waited outside to see what the player was going to do, because again, if the player wants to capture it, then they can, but if the player wants to do a wake-up attack, then they can. But the AI doesn't intervene for you, it just kind of waits for you to do something. But then obviously there were times when the AI just kind of stood there looking lost. So again, it's nothing revolutionary per se, but it's more a case of, okay, it's cool that you now have the option to have AI people in your hunt in case you do play solo, or you play offline and you just want some people to join in the hunt to kind of simulate that. The cool thing is that the companions, I don't know if this was for demo purposes, but the companions all seem to be having the same, well, each time I seen the AI companions being brought in, they were the same set of companions each time. So I don't know if it's the same per hunt or the same per map, or is it just for demo sake? Again, no idea.
Like I'm wondering again. You probably can't. They probably haven't even revealed this. Like, can you like adjust like your AI companions? Like, hey, I want this guy to be like have this weapon, have this armor set. Like that would be kind of interesting, you know?
What would be really cool is if they did something like Forza, with how the Forza had like the Gravatars, where they kind of like
Yeah.
assess the movements of certain players, and then they become AI in your game. So, for example, I can have Tony's AI in my game that uses like Tony's equipment, Tony's weapons, and I have Brett's AI and all sorts. That would be cool. But again, I had no idea that's even in there. I think that's just a nice to have.
No offense to you fellas.
Oh.
I'm going straight for the Japanese AI.
The Japanese AI, you know?
Just get a random any Japanese person. Get that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's funny.
So yeah, they showed off the weapon switching. So you have your mount, and when you call it, that's when you can switch your weapons like on the mount. So it's not like you can swap in the field. It's only swapping on the mount, which makes sense. But the mount is always available. One thing I'm still yet to get an answer for is if your palico stays with you in the hunt in multiplayer. As in World, once you got over 3 players, then your palico would disappear.
Yeah.
But in Rise, once you got over 3, well, the palico would always stay there. So even if there were 4 people, there'd still be 4 people plus 4 palicos, and the effects would be crazy. So I'm not too sure how the palico stays, because your mount doesn't seem to attack. It just seems to be there for mounting and fast travel and all sorts.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem. I did catch some gameplay videos. I did it on when they're playing 4 players. I never saw the palico in any of them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I did see the mounts.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool as well. Again, I would have liked the palicos to be there, but just add extra buffs and whatnot, because my palico in World was very buff heavy. So I'd feel great joining in someone else's game, but then the second that a third person joins, then it's like, damn, I didn't get my buffs on. So
yeah, got to get them buffs, you know?
I get the buffs.
So yeah, it's looking good.
I'm kind of conflicted on the hub stuff, because I always felt like the hub was always a good place to, in the in-between part of the game. So hopefully, if it's encampments or whatever, where you get to do all that. Hopefully it's intuitive like the hub was. And also the hub was cool because you had your own apartment thing where you can...
Yeah, I like the hub, you know?
Yeah, and then you had your trophies, like when your hunt trophy.
Yeah.
Well, when you captured like a bezel guys or something, and it was just, right there. So, I like the hub. Hopefully... This is better than that, but hopefully it's not worse.
Yeah. Anything else, Brian?
Nothing else. They've shown off a bunch of monsters that I've not seen before, but by the sounds of it, one of them was in a previous game. So I guess that's a good thing. But the other thing that I've noticed as well, because again, I played a bit too much Rise, and you start to notice things. You start to notice patterns, which these days is becoming sort of illegal to notice patterns.
So
at a certain point, you start to notice that the monsters have certain body types, and that correlates to to other monsters that are in previous games. So, for example, the main one that's kind of like the weird, large bear dog thing.
Yeah,
that seems to have a very similar body type as Zenoga, if you played World to the end game, and also to Magnum Mallow. So hinting that maybe those type of monsters. Well, those types of monsters are in the game, which I think are called the Fanged Wyvern, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Chapper whatever thing, the thing with a tongue, that seems to have a very similar body type to Rajang.
Yeah.
So the beast one as well. So it's like, okay, so possibly Rajang is in Wilds. And then of course there's the serpent one, which everyone is very excited for because it means that the serpents are also back, as they were missing in World because they just couldn't get them to work, apparently, according to the devs. So that's also nice. And the last one is the bird wyvern. Sorry, I think the flying wyvern.
Yeah.
Which of course is your Rathalos, your Rathian, and all sorts. And I noticed that the moves were very similar to Diablos.
So, interesting.
So I would not be surprised if Diablos was in this, because it seems like Diablos is like a staple at this point, like Rathalos, which makes sense. So yeah, that's interesting stuff. Obviously they're keeping very tight-lipped about all the monsters that they'll have, so we don't know who is returning and who's not returning. So I guess waiting for the reveals. Everyone really likes and wants No Gigante back, and yeah, I think No Gigante has the same animation model as the bear thing, because some of the moves look very similar to No Gigante slams.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a possibility, but yeah, wait and see.
Dope. Give me that fucking game. I'm hyped. Stay tuned for more. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next up,
also,
what's up?
Yeah, I just want to add, at some point, it sounds like there'll be a demo, as that's what they do,
I saw that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I haven't found anyone saying when that demo would be, but I'm guessing it's between now and release. So
yeah.
Oh, I have a question for Brian.
Why is it?
Why is it that, did they mention anything about so it's gonna be multiple maps, right? Like Worlds was?
I assume so. They haven't mentioned it, but I don't see why they would not do that. It would seem weird if they didn't.
Yeah, my follow up, I guess, did they mention anything about map sizes compared to the previous one? Like, did they say, oh, it's like this is like 10 times the size of a regular world and stuff like that?
I mostly skipped that stuff because I wanted to see what the gameplay was like, but it could be that they mentioned it. From what I see about the mini-map, they're around the same size as World. Well, the one shown looks to be around the same size as World, so possibly similar in comparison size, or in size comparison. But how many they'll have, it could be 4 or 5. Who knows?
Cool.
He's Jay Shep is asking us, does it matter to us if Monster Hunter Wilds is 30 FPS? Not if we get it on PC. It won't matter then, will it? You know?
That is the other thing. Again, that's what people are saying because the demo is running at 30 frames. So again, it's demos. I don't know what they blocked them to. It could just be for the sake of stability or something.
Yeah.
So hence, I didn't want to bring it up.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this game cross-platform too? Like you could play with other players. Yeah. So I'm like, get this shit on PC. You know.
Let's secure about trophies.
Yeah. You know, no trophy. That's okay. You know, I want that performance. You know.
I'm on easy.
Yeah. You can't. It's hard to go back to 30 FPS, man. It really is. You know.
Unless they're gearing up for PS5 Pro.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. You know,
that's where they get you.
That's it. So it gets you. What's going on? Okay, hold on, real quick. Some shout outs here. Logic wins in the house. He goes PC Master Race. You know.
Yo.
All right, man. Good stuff. Moving on here. This one was a little bit of a surprise for me, considering how the movie bombed. But Borderlands 4 is real, people. It is coming. So does anyone care?
It's got Tiny Tina.
It's got Tiny Tina. You know?
What's a Borderland? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because the third one wasn't very well received by the
Yeah.
sounds of it. I've not played it yet, but ironically, I think it is free on PlayStation Plus, or it was free, one of the two. So I'm kind of in the midst of I don't know how I feel. I'll have to see how the third one was, but if they again, I don't know why I say this because I know the answer, but I'm say it anyway. If they learn from their mistakes with Borderlands 3, then yeah, Borderlands 4 could be good. But if they go down the same track and the writing's the same, the humor's the same, or worse, then yeah, what the fuck?
I'm curious to know what impact the movie will have on the enthusiasm for this game, if any. But I think it's probably 3 will have more of an impact. You know what I'm saying? Than like the movie will, because nobody went to see the movie anyway. So I think it'll be more like, hey, 3 wasn't that great, so I don't know about this game, but who knows? Maybe it'll recapture the magic.
I think that the movie is so bad that people are just willing to not even give a damn about it and say, yeah, the movie was really bad. Let's not even consider it. So by proxy of the film being so bad, it could not have an effect at all.
Yeah. Also, the movie's coming to streaming next week. I'm not even exaggerating. Oh, man. Good stuff. All right, so yeah, there you go, Borderlands 4. All right, again, I'm just going with what IGN had. There's apparently a Starship Troopers game coming out. 16-player co-op.
Is it called Helldivers 2?
No, it's not. It's actually called Starship Troopers Extermination, and Casper Van Dien showed up.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh shit!
It's not. But the thing about it is this has been shown before. So
yeah,
is that the one in early access?
In what?
I think it might be.
Possibly.
Wait, I didn't hear the question. In what now?
Is that Starship Troopers the game, the one that was in early access a while ago?
Maybe. Yeah, because it is a 16-player co-op, so I'm assuming it was in early access.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah, it seems neat. I haven't checked on it since it went into early access. It'd be interesting to see how it went since then.
Oh, Brett, here it is. This is why you should read, people. A single-player mode will join the wild 16-player co-op missions early access with the launch of the full game on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X on October 11th. So yeah, Brett, there is an early access going on right now then. Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's the one I've been seeing. Yeah, the game actually, it got really positive reception when it first came out in early access. So
that's good.
If the developers have been paying attention to the feedback, that is generally a pretty good recipe for something somewhat decent. If they got a good foundation going, and then listen to the community after that.
Yeah,
they don't always do that, so we'll see. But I'm just saying that there's the potential for something good here, so I'll have to check into it.
Cool. All right, next up here we have Gary Swaby's favorite game of all time, Marvel Rivals. Apparently, there's some new characters here. Captain America and Winter Soldier. That's what it says right here. So, Manny, what's up with this?
I mean, it's just some more characters that they're revealing to Marvel Rivals. The one thing about Marvel Rivals is, they have their own sort of iterations of the characters. So, Cap sort of has like an armory look to his suit, a little bit more Japanese or Asian inspired type, design sense. And Winter Soldier is sort of like a mixture of the movie one and the comic one, but he's got this sort of new techno-organic ability where he can kind of throw tendrils of his arms and stuff out. So yeah, it's a good looking game. They did a really nice job with it. A lot of people seem to be very excited about it.
Yeah. Rich, do you have any thoughts on Marvel Rivals, or basically what has Gary told you about this game?
Well, that is a phenomenal question, my very good friend.
Yes.
Gary does have a video currently on the website and on the Coalition Gaming channel, because he actually spent a lot of time with the beta. So he did a video and shared his thoughts because, he's an Overwatch player. I actually did get a chance to play this game when I was in Boston visiting family, and I enjoyed the game. Obviously, did not have a lot of content. It didn't have a lot of fighters because even though the roster was good, there's still some other people I was expecting to see in that roster. But yeah, as so far I could say I had a hell of a lot of fun with this game. There's another game dropping this week. If you was to ask me, would I play that game or this game? Obviously, I'm gonna play this game instead of that. But I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game, and it is coming out in December because they did announce that too, like I guess December 6th or whatever. So that's pretty soon.
Yeah, and we will talk about that other game in a little bit. Oh man! All right, next up here, Sid Meier's Civilization 7 people. It is coming. So if you're a fan of that franchise, there you go. But it's dropping next year, February 11th, 2025. For PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, interesting, and PC.
Where is Sid Meier these days? I know he sold. I think he sold a lot of this. Sold the franchise to EA or something.
I'm not sure. I'm not a Civilization guy. All I know about Civilization 6 is we use it for our testing because it's such a lower grade game. You know. All right, so there you go. If you're a fan of Civilization, there you have it. Next up, okay, I gotta have to read this one because I don't know about this game, or probably it's one of those games that I've seen a bunch of times that I just, in one ear out the other. Some fucking Amazon game. Amazon Secret Level Series trailer. So I'm going to read this because, again, I don't know what the fuck this is. One of the most popular reveals opening night live, that was Gamescom opening night live, was an upcoming Amazon series called Secret Levels, an animated anthology series from creator of Love, Death, and Robots that focuses on a series of... This isn't a video game then. What the fuck is this bullshit?
Oh, no. It is a video game. What it is that it's a series of... it's an anthology series based on actual video games. So there's one... They show you in really quick. There's a God of War thing, a Ghost of Tsushima thing. There's actually a Mega Man thing in there.
And you can play this?
Not play it. It's just a bunch of
it's not
shorts.
A game. Okay,
it's a bunch of animated shorts. It's game adjacent.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's by the studio, the guy who created the guy who directed the original Deadpool, who did that. His company for years had made cinematics for games. Yeah. So they made this big deal that they are essentially making like cinematics. Essentially 30-minute little shows based on different franchises. So some of the ones, like I said, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima. I saw there was a Mega Man one. There's also a Armored Core one with Keanu Reeves, which they show him in it. So it's a bunch of different things based on these different franchises.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
It sounds real cool.
Yeah. So. Jay Shep, interesting question. He goes, "Does anyone know if all the games shown at Gamescom are debuting on Game Pass?" I didn't get a chance to actually watch it. Not every game, because remember, Gamescom isn't an Xbox show; it's an everything show. So I'm assuming, So he's like, you're not going to see Monster Hunter on Game Pass, day one or anything like that. So I don't know where you got that idea from. It's not an Xbox show; it's a everything show.
He heard game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So that. But if you could tell me why you're asking that question, I'd like to know, because that's interesting. Because Gamescom is not it's Germany's E3 basically. So it's not an Xbox show.
I'm wondering if he because in the previous years, Xbox did have a little presentation they did on each of the shows. Like on Gamescom. And remember, everybody's like weirded out. I'm like, hey, wow, they're actually doing a thing at Gamescom. Nobody's doing anything there.
Yeah, but like Street Fighter 6, that's not on Game Pass. That was shown.
Street Fighter 6,
like again, Monster Hunter Wilds, that's not going to be on Game Pass.
No.
Anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle release date announced. So we know the game's coming, but Manny, something else was revealed in the title card, wasn't it?
Well, not the title card, but the closing card.
Oh.
So, they had the little, they did the little shtick. They got Troy Baker to do the little voice and show off a little bit of his a little bit of his motion capture, and he's saying he's excited to play Indiana Jones. He grew up with Indiana Jones,
The
and all that
usual
good stuff.
spiel, you know.
Usual spiel. And they show you little bits of gameplay, and he says, "Hey, the big difference between this one is you're actually inside the, Indiana Jones. You are Indiana Jones
inside Indiana Jones." Okay,
he didn't say that, but anyway. So yeah, he shows you all kinds. They showed you all kinds of footage, and then as the thing goes on, a card appears at the end. It says Xbox this coming
December 9th,
coming this December. And then another card appeared after that says coming to PlayStation 5 spring.
Dun, dun, dun. And that set Twitter on fire. So that's the main thing I've seen on my timeline. Just fanboys losing their shit over this. And what's interesting, right? Apparently, and not apparently, this has actually happened. Back in February of this year, Phil Spencer specifically said Starfield and Indiana Jones not coming to PlayStation.
The caveat, he said this year.
Yeah. No, he didn't say that. But then he did. But then, thankfully, some journalists actually did their due diligence and asked, "Hey, you said this in February. What happened?" And he just said, "Things change."
Things change. Which goes to show you, I'm going to say this. I don't think Phil has control of the. Of the train or how he's
Satya Nadella was like, "You getting that shit on PlayStation?"
No, here's the thing. Like the big old test that they did with the 3 titles that they released on PlayStation was their test bed.
Yeah.
If they could make money off of this stuff, and what did they do? They made money. So what does Microsoft do? It's like, all right, then why don't you put the other games on there?
Yeah. Yeah. So Satya Nadella is like, "I'm the captain."
He's the captain. And, I mean, it explains why the bipolarness of the Xbox brand, where in other words they say one thing and then in other words the next minute they go and close down a bunch of studios.
Yeah, and just real quick. Remember, we discussed this. Apparently, some leaks came out. Some some Xbox or ex-Xbox employees, whistleblowers said that they felt that Xbox was no longer Xbox. It was Microsoft Games because all the major decisions were made up top. It wasn't made by the actual Xbox division anymore. Go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, the whole thing Manny mentioned, the test bed of games that they released on PlayStation. It's pretty interesting because there's a something from Eurogamer that they an article that they produced, and it says Xbox published Sea of Thieves reportedly surpassed 1 million in sales on PlayStation 5.
Damn.
1 freaking million for a game that's how old?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. That's a lot more than I would have guessed. So yeah, no surprise that they're doing this with Indiana Jones. They're going to do this with a lot of other titles. Similar to how PlayStation is doing this with PC, but it's a year later. But that's because they can afford it because a lot of their first party games, actually sell pretty decently for the most part. Not all of them. And with Xbox, I just feel like it's a mandate from, like you guys mentioned, from higher above, where it's like, we're not generating the revenue we should be for these games. Now this is just a speculation, but we want to strike the iron while it's hot, and let's do a couple of months exclusivity on PC and Xbox, but we're gonna get these on PlayStation because we're gonna these games make money there. We don't want them to lose on that revenue.
Yeah, so not surprised there, but obviously some people were not very happy about this on Twitter. You saw the usual cast of characters like Kid Smooth and Tim Dog losing their mind. I'm like, and especially with Tim Dog, I'm like, how do you moved on, bro? I thought you were a PlayStation guy now. What do you care? But he was very upset about this, and Carlos, a lot of insiders were like, I said it. It was me. I broke that shit.
You mean you guessed right?
Yeah, that's what I said. I on the Throwdown Discord, I wrote, I'm like, hey, who's going to be the first insider? Actually, I tweeted that to him, like, who's going to be the first insider that says they were right? But it's just dudes throwing shit at a wall,
They're just throwing shit at the wall. It's just like, it's not. It's like, okay, so is what it is.
I reported. I'm the real journalist.
But here's the thing, like, I mean, granted, it's like, you're reading the tea leaves of what is already there, right? You're already looking down the road and seeing, okay, there's a possibility that this is going to happen. How is it that you're gonna, you remember, Bethesda / Microsoft have to pay Sony to, not pay Sony, pay Disney in order to get the rights to Indiana Jones. Don't you think that they want to hedge as much as that deal as possible?
They want a piece of that pie. Yeah.
And to be honest, this announcement, despite it not being originally being made years ago, didn't say what console it was going to be on. But I'm sure if things were going to go the way they were going to go, it was kind of already going to be a PlayStation game.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, no, yeah, but yeah. So there you go. It's coming to PlayStation.
It's coming to PlayStation in spring. So you have something to look forward to. If you're a PlayStation only fan and you really like Indiana Jones, even though that's kind of difficult to say these days with that franchise being essentially turned into poison. But there you go. You get to play as Indiana Jones. You play Troy Baker as Indiana Jones.
And on Xbox, it's going to release in December, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
December 9th. That's when it's coming to Xbox.
December 9th.
Yeah.
So it'll be under your Christmas stock, under your Christmas tree, right?
Well, not that Game Pass.
It'll be under the Game Pass Christmas tree for all of you who are still subscribed to Game Pass. Brett, are you gonna play you some Indiana Jones? It's by the guys who did the Wolfenstein games.
I mean, I guess I have no reason not to give it a shot.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Right? You're like, it's like, I don't, it's there, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. It's
pretty
low barrier to entry, I guess. So yeah, why not?
Logic Win says he'll definitely play it on Game Pass.
There you go. Play your games.
J-Shep goes, it'll be on PS5 before Game Pass Standard. We will talk about Game Pass Standard in a bit. Oh man, that's funny. Anybody else have any thoughts on Indiana Jones?
I'm not really interested in the game.
Same here. I don't care. I'm done with the franchise.
I can see why Xbox / Microsoft would do something like this.
Yeah,
it's the same reasoning why, Though I did see a bunch of people say, "Put Spider-Man on Xbox."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What's up, Rich? What were your thoughts on Indiana Jones and this whole controversy surrounding it?
Well, first and foremost, let me just say this real quick. I did attend the preview event for Indiana Jones last week, so I did get a chance to see the same presentation that everybody saw, and then they showed some gameplay. A gameplay that they didn't show in that presentation. So I will say the game looks pretty good. I'm not completely sold on the hand-to-hand combat because machine games, one thing I love about Wolfenstein is they're really good with how you use those weapons in that game. So obviously Indiana Jones is a lot more slower paced. He doesn't use a lot of guns, even though he had a revolver that they showed in that trailer. So obviously need to get used to that, but everything about the exploration, the world building, I am interested in that, so I will check it out. Now, as for the controversy, I will say this. I'm not surprised about the game coming to PlayStation 5. I think the announcement happening so fast after you announce it's coming to Game Pass, I don't think I would have announced it that fast, and obviously the way Microsoft did it, where they had Machine Games say, oh yes, Machine Games has something else to tell all of you in the audience. So Microsoft, it's a very interesting strategy in the way that Jeff treated it as there's one more thing we have to announce. I wasn't really too much of a fan of that, but I will say this. Microsoft, in my opinion, they have a communication problem because you all saw the video, the receipts of that Phil Spencer got because of what he said months ago. Obviously, we already knew when they decided on those 4 games they were going to make more money. They are concerned about making more money. So as from a business standpoint, you understand why this game would end up going to PlayStation 5. But when I say they have a communication problem, I think they are in a state of denial as far as Bethesda and Activision. This is a third-party publisher. They release games on everything. And I think what Microsoft needs to do is just basically admit to themselves, we need to have these games coming to every platform. Because again, when Doom comes out next year, that's not going to be, this is a timed exclusive. That's going to come to everything. Because from a business standpoint, you make the most money by putting it out on every platform. There's no way in hell they're going to release that in the next Elder Scrolls as a timed exclusive. I'm pretty sure those games will be on everything day one. Because it just doesn't make any kind of sense for it not to be. So I just don't understand why they have this whole thing where you would make someone think, okay, it has to be a timed exclusive. They need to stop doing that. Just say everything is coming. Forget it on the case-by-case basis. Because eventually, if you want to make money, it has to be on more than one platform. That's common sense. But I will say this. The day that Gears of War or Halo comes to PlayStation, that is the day I want to go online and see the reaction. Because when I think of Gears of War, I don't think of PlayStation. I think of Xbox specifically. And Halo, even though I'm not a fan of what 343 has done with Halo Infinite, that is a series that is synonymous with Xbox. So if those games end up on another platform, I know a lot of people will be even more angry than they was of this announcement, but I wasn't angry about the Indiana Jones thing because, again, Bethesda and Activision, I look at them as a third-party publisher. They're not going to have any exclusive games on Xbox, at least not for a long period of time. But we'll see what happens. But Microsoft, shout out to Microsoft, because Redfall is exclusive to Xbox, and that is a garbage game. Starfield is definitely coming to PlayStation 5, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Rich, got a question for you here from Mr. J. Shep.
This is a question show?
Yeah, he goes, Can Richard Bailey Jr. say if Indiana Jones will be 30 or 60 FPS?
That's a great question. I don't know. Honestly, they didn't really go into that. What I can say, and this is news, this is confirmed, Stalker is 60 frames per second on Xbox Series X. So I think it's interesting how certain developers have figured this out, others haven't. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, they confirmed that. Multiple places has been confirmed. That's going to be 60 frames per second on Xbox Series X. So
yeah. And Richard, go ahead.
Yep. Richard, I hate to butt in, but I have a question that it's been weighing on me.
Yes,
if you don't mind. Yeah, but should I get it though?
Is it worth buying?
Wait. Indiana Jones or Stalker? You're talking about Indiana Jones?
Yeah, but should I get it?
Yeah, but should he get it?
Yes, Game Pass. Yeah, you got Game Pass. Why not? Give it a try.
Yeah, why aren't you answering the question directly, though, Richard?
Well, I am going to try out the game. I saw enough to say, okay, I'm interested. I'm going to try this out. But I want, after this is over with, I need another Wolfenstein. All right? These guys, they need to stick to what they know how to do. Obviously, you want to step out of your comfort zone and work on a different project. I get that. But I want another Wolfenstein. And I'm not talking about the garbage we had with them last 2 games. I need Wolfenstein 3, the real sequel, not this other stuff. So,
yeah. and Rich, J. Shep made an interesting comment I want you to comment on. He goes, so Richard Bailey Jr. is partial to Xbox? Uh-oh. Is this
I'm
true?
not sure. I'm not sure what that comment means.
I think he's partial to free.
I'm partial to playing on everything, and I don't know if you listen to anything that I said. I was criticizing Microsoft in what I just said. I didn't praise Microsoft in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know how that translates to me being partial to Microsoft.
I didn't understand that one. I'm like, Richard's partial to games, you know?
Yeah,
yes.
Rich is partial to games and Concord.
No. Not Concord. Not Concord. That's Carlos's game.
You know? Oh man. All right, good stuff there. Indiana Jones, the most controversial game of the year. Anyway, actually, that may be something else, but we'll talk about that in a bit. They showed that Batman VR game. I don't give a fuck about that. Yeah, Manny, unless you have any thoughts on the Batman VR game.
I mean, it sounds like they're using the origins voice of Batman in it, so it's not Kevin Conroy. It sounds like it's the guy who played Chris Redfield, who played him in Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, not much to say. It's the guys that made Iron Man VR. My only worry for them is it's Camouflage Games. Is that they're at Meta, and the last company that made pretty decent AAA games. A certain Ready at Dawn company, no longer with us anymore.
Yeah.
So. And I know it said even the creator of the owner of that studio just was silent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, I feel like as much as it was, obviously, Meta, Facebook then coming with the big old check, obviously I could see why you want to take a job like that, be bought by them. But that also leaves you wide open to especially when they're a publicly traded company, when they start chopping the fat.
Yep.
And then you end up being on the chopping block. So I don't want to see that happen to Camouflage Games, but if this thing doesn't hit what they think it should hit, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Rich, regarding the Xbox comment, so J-Shep says that he asked that because you said you would be mad if Halo and Gears were not Xbox exclusives.
So let's rewind the tape on that. I said I want to go online and see reactions when that happens. Because like I said, anyone that has an Xbox, those are the two franchises I would think if you ever had an Xbox. Gears of War is synonymous with Xbox. So obviously, I think if Microsoft does that, I think a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of people angry online. Either way, it won't matter to me because I play every game on any platform with the exception of Nintendo. They will not get me to ever get a Switch.
There you go.
My apologies, but I'm not messing with Nintendo. It's only grown man gaming on the consoles that I enjoy. And PC, yes, I also approve of PC. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and to be fair, yes, you did say that you're interested in seeing the comments, just like I am. I will be on Twitter all day. Popcorn ready, He goes, my fault, I misheard. It's all good, brother. All good. All right, next up here, Genshin Impact is coming to Xbox. Oh, Rich, I know you must be happy about this news. You've been waiting since you are partial to Xbox,
I'm gonna be honest. I heard of this game. I've never played it, and I don't understand the fascination of it. So I have to check it out. But I was like, okay. So what else is coming? What else is coming to the consoles?
Yeah. So yeah, you don't need to worry about it. Genshin Impact. All right. Here's the interesting stuff. The next Dying Light game has been announced, people. The last game that came out before didn't really get that much traction because the first Dying Light was dope. A lot of us on the podcast played it together. And then Dying Light 2 took so long to come out that we kind of lost interest. I remember, and Rich, you were there that year too. We played it at E3, I think in 2017, and then the game took 50 years to come out.
Well, it was also broken when it came out.
Yeah, that doesn't help either. Yeah.
So he'd get its shit together eventually, but at that point, several high-profile games had just released, and it was just bad timing, man. unless you completely reinvent yourself, not everyone can be No Man's Sky. When you just get your shit together and make a fairly adequate game 6 months after release, people tend to not give a shit anymore.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. All right, what else do we have here? Goat Simulator Remastered coming out. This is actually the sequel. This is actually the sequel. It's not remastered.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian, what's up, man? What do you think of this?
I love how they just continue to troll people with their naming. It is very nice how they're able just to poke fun at the whole naming scheme, how they didn't have a second one and then have the remaster, that's a sequel. It's like, yep, why not, because you can do that. Like, at this point in time, game names don't really mean anything and make sense half the time. I mean, I'm going to talk about a game called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Which one is it that I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. The fact that there's a Call of Duty Modern 4, the Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, then there's a Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remaster, and then there's the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is different. But then also there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and then there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which are two different games. And both are sequels to the other games. And it's like, yeah, the whole naming scheme makes no sense. So screw it. Have fun with these guys. Yeah, it's Goat Simulator. If people keep buying it, then people will keep making it.
Yep, pretty much.
It's as they say, they will come if you build it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good segue to the next one. Mario Kart Legos announced. So we don't really give a fuck about that.
Oh my god, the chimera of
Really?
corporate greed.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Yeah, Mario Kart Legos announced.
I didn't see that in Gamescom, but
Yeah,
sure.
Well, it's in here. So there you go. So that's what IGN has, but I have this other tab here for Mashable. Let's see if there's other games that were shown here. So far, we've covered all this. Mafia: The Old Country. Okay,
that wasn't on the IGN thing, which is interesting.
No, this is from Mashable right now. Because remember, Gamescom, big show. So yeah, Mafia: The Old Country. So I'm guessing it's taking place in Italy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
A la Godfather Part 3.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this?
Cool.
I just had.
Yeah. Okay, hold on, Rich. You have a comment to make?
Oh no, I just was going to say they're actually going to show more of this at the Game Awards. That's what they did announce. So we're probably going to get a proper reveal. The only comment I was going to make is I think 2K has a lot going on next year because you got Civ, you got Borderlands, and of course Take-Two, which is the company that oversees all this, also got Grand Theft Auto. So they got a lot of stuff dropping next year if nothing gets delayed.
Yeah. Brian, what were you going to say before?
No, just it's cool. Nothing really to add. Let's see how well this goes down because the third one kind of went down not well. So I guess they're going back to like the mafia roots in that essence. So again, we're better to take it than Italy. So
yeah. Again, I haven't seen the trailer. Maybe I probably should, but it's like, is it like set during like Mussolini times or something? Like that'd be interesting because I'm like, they got to have cars, right? Like it's not just horses running around, or they could do horses. Red Dead Mafia, right? I don't know. So we'll see. Let me look at the trailer real quick. Do they even show gameplay?
You absolutely you know they ain't gonna show that.
Oh yeah, you're right. No.
That's what I was saying.
We go to the old country, Italy. Yeah,
it could be like 1950s, give or take.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer. I see a castle
with the waistcoat.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm kind of with you, Brian. After our last Mafia, I don't know about that.
I'm looking at the phone. It's one of those. Yeah, it's like maybe 20s.
Could be.
It's the one where the dialing thing's a circle on the
a rotary
container.
Fucking kids. It's a rotary dial, Brian.
It's a
Before my
rotary
time.
dial.
I'm sorry. Jesus. I'm trying my best here.
Yeah, that's
They
fair
have
enough.
electricity.
You-
There you go. That's something.
You know, back in the day, that's how you used to be able to save money on your phone if you had a
No,
rotary dial. phone.
Rotary dial. Yeah.
No,
But it's not like
not-
the 90s one. It's like the one before that. It's like
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
where you hang, like you literally hang the, I guess the receiver. I guess yes.
Yeah, that's why.
the
That's where you get the
receiver
term
on
"off
it.
the hook." You know, that's where you get
Yeah.
terms like that. And the
It's off the
horn
hook.
is because the
the
phone
horn,
used to look
the
like a
little horn thing. Yeah, you put it on your hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like halfway through the trailer, Tony. You'll see it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when the phone rang off the hook or whatever. Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I think he said it was before it had a rotary dial on it, when it didn't have any numbers and you actually had to connect to an operator. Is that what you're talking about,
Oh,
Brian?
whoa, that's real far back. You know.
Get me.
Oh, you
get
like
me.
like you have to
Get me,
tap on
get me Delta 949. All right. Get me the Tribune, operator.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. All right, moving on here. So, Manny, here's your favorite game, Masters of Albion, because Peter Molyneux was back, people.
It is
Bro.
Peter Molyneux. He has returned. He has returned. He has returned from the grave
Yeah,
to bring us promises that we could never comprehend.
yeah. So, yeah, Manny, you were telling us a little bit about this before the show started. So, what's up with? And this looks very much like what's the name? God or Black and White?
Black and white.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so he is going to Peter Molyneux again says he is going to revolutionize the game
Of
industry
course.
by remaking a game that he has made twice. So the only difference between this God game and the other two God games that he's known for is that you have a hero that you can run around in third person mode, as
Yeah.
opposed to, you know, in the other two where you just had force of nature. You could just affect things. So that's the big change, the big thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's Jeff Keighley seemed very happy that he managed to scrape up Peter Molyneux from whatever underside of a toilet he's been hanging out.
That's funny. I like when
hopefully,
yeah, go ahead.
hopefully this will at least be a decent game, unlike that other piece of garbage Goddess.
Oh, Goddess. Oh, yeah. What about
He also
the Cube?
he also made
Remember
he
that?
also he also made a joke that he about the fact that going mobile was the wrong idea. He really should be doing like PC and console. So he's coming
man.
back to PC and console
That's
with
funny.
this revolutionary game that is pretty much what he's made before.
I like what they've written here. Peter Molyneux is back. That name either made you giggle or made you go who, depending on how long you've been following video games. We laughed. So, yes, we've been following games for many decades.
Yes.
Oh, man. All right.
So
You go ahead.
So the British
up?
YouTubers are going to have a field day. What is his name? Top Hat Harry and who's the
Oh,
other
yeah.
guy?
And his wife, what's her face?
Yeah,
Lady,
those guys-
lady, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, those. There's another one who also makes fun of Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. What's up, Brett?
I think one of the things that I found interesting was when the reason he kind of said he was coming back was like, mobile games doesn't really allow you to, make a lot of choices other than chasing after the biggest profit dollar. And the reason he's coming back is he kind of wants to come back and, for lack of a better term, it sounded like he was saying, do a greatest hits, because he doesn't know that he doesn't think he's going to be alive long enough to make a game after this. So while he's not announcing his retirement, he assumes that this will be the last game he ever makes.
Okay.
It better be good.
We'll see.
You don't want to go out. You don't want to go out on a stinker, do you?
No.
Yeah. All right, man. Moving on here. What else do we have? Dune Awakening. More Dune Awakening gameplay. Isn't this like a RTS game or some shit?
Yeah. Well, no.
What is this? Let me look at the trailer.
I mean, it's the alternate universe Dune that doesn't take. It's what if Paul Atreides? What if they followed?
It's like what is this like a? Why does this look like Mass Effect? It's like a third-person shooter. The fuck is this?
Yeah, it was like a Mass Effect looking game.
Yeah, it really looks like Massive. Okay, you may have my attention.
But there is a multiplayer. I remember there's a bit of a multiplayer aspect to it too.
That's a problem.
You play.
Graphics look nice, at least.
It looks like Dune.
Yeah.
There's a worm.
Yeah, they got a worm. You know, the worm has turned.
You have to leverage your You have to leverage.
Why does this look like Mass Effect? What the fuck? Oh, by the way, shooting guns in Dune, that's already kind of wrong.
It's wrong.
You're like they explain why they don't shoot guns in those games in the world.
Yes.
Because okay, so that's not
because
good.
of force fields.
Yeah, because the force fields, if they come in contact with nuclear explosion, yeah, like no.
Yeah.
Oh, is it an MMO, J-Shep? So yeah. Oh, what?
You are done.
Yeah, I'm done. But the thing is, like, I was already done after this disregarded lore like that. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of high technology going on there. What are holograms? Hold on, bro. The whole thing with Dune is supposed to be low tech because of the fucking war they had with the machines forced them to become low tech. Unless it's taking place.
Didn't Atreides have a hologram in the movie? That was his learning thing, remember?
Yeah, but it's all like low stuff. But if this is taking place during the Batlarian Jihad, then they can have technology like this.
This is not Larian Jihad. It's like
it's not right.
What if the things went in the other direction?
Oh yes, that's right. What if Paul Atreides was a girl or whatever, right? Like if the prophecy actually happened,
she was a girl and he went. The prophecy, followed the route that it was supposed to.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember that now, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. All right, yeah, I've lost interest.
It's an interesting idea to free themselves away from a lot of the canon of it, so to make their own thing. So think about it. If you took Rings of Power and said a bunch of things that didn't happen in the past
Rings of Power didn't happen. That whole thing is fan fiction.
Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much like Rings of Power.
Yeah, that's not a good thing, Manny. That's not a good thing at all. You know,
but I mean, the reasoning for why I see it is them attempting to free themselves of canon so they can start making their own thing.
Yeah.
So it's really Dune in visuals and in some of the lore, but not all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Personally, I would be happy if they brought back the old Dune game, but nobody, and they don't want to do that. They want to make a shooty game.
Yeah. All right. Next up here, we have another. We talked about this. Lost Records. Don't Nod made another Life is Strange game.
Yeah, they got another Life is Strange like.
Yeah.
I wish they weren't just stuck in like Life is Strange mode. You know, there was a point that Don't Nod used to do other types of games, right, yep. Brian?
Yes, they did, but I guess they found their swing into doing Life is Strange, and that's what they'll keep doing until the company dies.
Doing these sort of point and click lights that they do, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the last game that was actually a last adventure game that they actually made was Vampire.
Yes, that was the last Life is Strange game they made. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, it's been like Life is Strange 2,
Life is Stranger,
and then don't tell me why.
Yeah, I remember
Life is Strange with a Vengeance.
Oh,
Life is Strange with a Vengeance. It wouldn't be with a Vengeance. It'd have to be a not as aggressive sounding name.
Yeah. All right. So there you go.
Life is Strange. This time for love.
Okay. And here's Richard's game of the show. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign reveal. This is actually really for Adam, but does anybody?
They're going crazy, man.
Yeah, what do you think of this, Rich? The Call of Duty campaign.
Well, it wasn't my game of the show, but I will admit that the campaign looks good. I obviously speak to Adam; he is very excited.
This is it.
Yeah, I mean the campaign looks pretty good, but That's all. That's all I can say for now. Well, I guess we'll find out in October if it actually is good. And there is a beta happening. The multiplayer beta is happening next week.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so there you go. Call of Duty. Right. Okay, that's it. That's all I got from these two websites. Was there anything else that was shown that we didn't cover here? That may have been it. Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah. J Shep. Controversial statement.
He's got statements.
He goes, I think this will be the highest selling Call of Duty so far. I find that interesting because remember, the game's coming to Game Pass too. So you may not get as many sales. But
yeah, that instantly nullifies and also they're gonna get the push, the advertisement push on the Xbox.
Yeah. So I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But maybe you're right. Who knows?
No, let's be real. He's not gonna be right.
Yeah, no, yeah. We love you, Jay Shepard. Now it ain't
It's not
happening.
gonna happen.
It ain't happening. All right. Right. That's all from Gamescom. Interesting show. Brett, you said that you were kind of hyped after this. Like you're like, hey, this game's coming.
I'd seen a couple of games in there that I thought was pretty good. I was like, I don't know, man. Like things don't seem as bad as they were. I don't think. I think this is the point where we're at, where like the drought should be over, and it's not over, but it's not as bad. So overall, it seems to be, I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be positive here.
Maybe. I mean, there was some stuff there, but Monster Hunter, we got that coming, so that's good. There's something.
There was a new trailer for Space Marines 2, but at this point, it doesn't really matter because you're either in or you're out with that game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Did they show any more for Warhammer by any chance?
I was jumping through the stuff because for the most part I wasn't caring.
Yeah.
So I've seen the trailer and I was like, skip, I already know what I'm getting into, so I don't need to be sold anymore.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. All right. All right, so that's it for Gamescom stuff. Let's move on to the other big story of the week. Black Myth Wukong, people. Game launched on Tuesday, and it became a hit. A huge hit. A matter of fact, and Brian, you could probably help me with this, it's like had over 2.3 million concurrent players or something insane like that,
Yes. And I guess just for better context, Brett, it happened again.
Did it really?
Yep. Black Myth Wukong, I think now is the second highest concurrent player count. Second highest concurrent player count in Steam history, beating Palworld.
Oh wow, that's
Exactly. So we have two games that came out in the same year that both became the second most played games in Steam history. That's never happened.
yeah, that's great. That's amazing.
At this point, I think the only game that can possibly come top now is GTA 6 because I don't know. I honestly don't expect to see this ever happen again in anytime soon because, you just don't get 2 million, 2.2 million concurrent players.
Insane.
Is Vietnam making video games? I'm just waiting
Might
for the
as well
the next Asian game to come out.
Yeah,
we got
but
the Chinese one.
And I'm glad you bring this up because one of the interesting thing about this is, yes, as you said, Chinese game and 88% of the players are from China. So kind of explains all those big numbers,
But does and this is a good question because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Can they access Steam over there?
Well, apparently they can.
Yeah.
Apparently they can.
The Steam charts.
Yeah.
But the reason
go ahead.
The reason I ask is because it's a Tencent game, right? Or like we're partly backed by Tencent.
I'm not sure about that.
Like Game Science is like I think owned by Tencent for I don't know how much of it, but I was maybe like Epic Game Store or something. They would have had it up there, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We got to look into that. We don't want to make that claim. But regardless, big numbers, which is I find interesting because, let's just be honest. Some in the games media, not all, because the game did get good reviews generally, but some in the game media did not want this game to succeed. And some of them are no longer on Twitter anymore because people are calling them out on their BS. And then this one's funny. And Brian, we talked about this before the show. So I saw an article today saying that, like the game lost 2 million players overnight. It's bombing. And it's like, it's because the players in China went to sleep. It's insane, man. The lengths people want to go through to make this game fail. And it's weird to me, So people like Screen Rant aren't happy about this, obviously, if you've seen their review,
I've never seen Screen Rant get video game reviews.
They do. They've done them.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, they've done them.
All I thought they did was do those those spoiler videos where they take cam footage, stolen cam footage, and make their little those little.
Yeah, they do that
videos.
too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, Manny. Finish up your point. Yeah.
I was saying that they like doing that sort of stuff, but they don't like this game. Stealing from the movies.
Yeah.
Isn't that bad? Is that stealing from Hollywood?
I got to read this headline. This is ridiculous. This is from Rock Paper Shotgun. Black Myth Wukong's record-setting launch popularity soured by co-publishers' request to avoid feminist propaganda in streams. I don't think that soured anything, man.
No, I don't think
it's like those people who say, "Oh, this movie went down 50% after its second weekend."
Everybody who saw it is who actually saw it. That's the plain and simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't understand what the deal is here, but how these guys are so dead set on this company, but when when certain
Activision,
where certain events have a certain situation with Activision happened a few years ago involving a certain person winning a very popular game thing, talking about and winning a trophy, and then wanting to strip him because he said something about a certain government and country that they didn't want him to say. And I didn't see the games media coming down on that and continue to come down on them for that. I don't understand what the deal is here. This is a company that had made they used to be the farm out studio. Now they're actually making a game. So to be honest, that's a pretty cool thing, to sort of go essentially be like, hey, listen, we're tired of making assets. Let's do something for real.
Yeah. Right here, another headline. Black Myth Wukong obliterates Steam charts to become the most played single-player game of all time on PC.
Ironically, I would say ironically, though, like it, this, obviously very, very good-looking game. But I would say the biggest controversy I would say after of Wukong is the fact that most of the game journalists got the PC code instead of the PlayStation 5 code.
Didn't get the PS5 code.
And then if you guys have watched Digital Foundry, you can kind of see why. They're using in order to achieve the 60 frames per second, they're using frame generation, motion flow. They're using that in the game, and they've spotted this in one of these videos from IGN China, where they're like, hey, it looks like they're using frame generation to achieve 60 frames per second. So the game can't run 60 frames per second in performance mode. And when they compared to all three modes, performance, the middle one, and the quality mode, they said that the quality of the stuff is pretty negligible between them. You're not getting anything that different between them.
Interesting.
And what was it? I think they said that balanced mode runs at 45 frames per second, which is a weird odd number, which means
not really. It's right in between 30 and 60.
Mm.
Remember, I was playing with Spider-Man because that's 40 frames. I'm like, you couldn't give him 5 more frames, bro, so you could get right in the middle.
Well, they said
Yeah.
that's splitting it evenly. Means that there's one duplicate frame.
Yeah.
So it's not really good to do 45, but
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, yeah. So there's a bit of a controversy on that. But even though I can't perceive the differences because I'm not a Digital Foundry, but I thought it looked fine to me.
Man, you got the game on PS5?
Of course I do.
Yeah. No, you playing it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I thought you were gonna wait for a bit or something.
No, I played. I mean, I wanted to finish Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Get the platinum in it, but I played a little bit of it.
That's good. By the way, J Shep says, but fanboys on Twitter are in defense mode of the PS version.
Yeah, they're in defense of the PS version. I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. On its own, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks very good. But I will say that it definitely the controversy is the smoke screen. Granted, the game is not broken. Like, it still plays, but it's not a perfect, translation. Not compared to PC.
Yeah.
Obviously. Because a PC is a PC.
And related news, my review went up on launch day. I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I wanted to give it 4, but like I said, my kind of main complaints were from a gameplay standpoint, the invisible walls drove me up a wall. They really frustrated me. And also, it's not an ultra knock, but still, it's like it just felt like you were just being funneled through from one boss fight to the next. Like, I know there's a quote unquote story, but I'm not familiar with the source material. I don't know what's going on, so it just felt like a boss rush mode.
I don't think in general you need to know that much about the lore of the world. It gives you enough of it.
Yeah.
You start at what I suspect it's like the greatest hits of Journey to the West.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But if you don't know it, then none of that stuff matters. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it's not supposed to matter. The way the game works is that they say something happened. He got stripped of his powers. You're gonna get them back. That's the plot.
Yeah, I mean, granted, the plot is more comprehensible than a freaking FromSoft game. All I know is like you're a monkey guy. You got to get strong to beat these gods. There's your story.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's your story. That's I mean, that's about it.
Yeah. But yeah, the invisible walls.
There's nothing that deep about Journey to the West. It's a story that's like, what is it? It's like 500 years old. Or more.
Yeah, I know. It's like 500 years. But you know what it is, and this is just kind of true. Like of like just Chinese stories in general, they're always a little weird to me. Like when you watch those old, like playing this game, like it feels like one of those old kung fu movies, the way the story kind of plays out. There's a bunch of weird random shit happening, So it kind of feels like that. But the game looks nice, like you said. It's enjoyable. Monkey King has a bunch of cool moves.
I would say it's a little bit like a lot of ways it's like a throwback game. It definitely feels like a God of War or Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, it feels like those games because obviously, it's a Souls-like, and not really. It's
no. The only Souls-like thing about that game is that when you die, you continue back from your last save point.
Yeah, but you don't lose anything.
But there is no consequences to you dying. You just keep going back.
Yeah, the only slight consequence, if you call it that, it's like if you used any like pills or potions or whatever, they get depleted with every single time you die. You know what I mean? Like when you come back, you don't get the point. You don't get the amount you had before dying.
Yeah, you don't get a full on reset.
No, you don't get that. But you don't have to I got to go collect my souls again. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Which to me, that's the main thing that makes it different from a Souls game.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing about it is like some of the bosses definitely have these Souls-y things. As far as patterns and things, and like they're pretty. Especially when you hit some of those like secret bosses that you kind of unlock,
they could be tough. Yeah,
they can whip your ass. Even the secret like stronger enemies that pop up every so often.
Yeah, for sure. But it is satisfying after you've gained enough levels and enough spells and stuff. You come back and you beat the shit out of those guys, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, there you go. Black Myth Wukong. Congratulations to them.
Hopefully it means that they can do more games.
Yeah, I said that in my review too. I'm like, I like what these guys are doing, and I want to see them do more. You know?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, if it sold as much as like if it has as well sales as it does people playing it, then I'm sure that they will look into that and say, hey,
unless the Chinese government was just giving them away.
They're
like, you're all gonna play this.
Yeah. They did back it. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So
what's up?
So just add some context. So Tencent did acquire a 5% stake in the game in 2021. So some, but not much.
Yeah. They're a little bit in there. They got a toe dip.
Exactly.
Cool. Good stuff.
Again, I just say like, hey, you know what? This is great. This is fantastic. Like, this is what we need. We need games to just come out of nowhere and be massive hits that people love and people want to play.
In all fairness, it is officially a new IP.
It is a new IP.
It's another adaptation.
Yeah.
Of the Monkey King Journey to the West story, but Journey to the West is such a there's so much to it. You could easily just do a spot on adaptation of the whole damn thing, or do choice cuts.
Yeah,
like these guys did.
The only other thing. Oh, sorry. I'll let you go first.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was about to say the only other thing that I have questions about is this somehow going to change how people see games for the Chinese audience?
Yeah, I mean,
this
that's a good question.
Heavily appeals to that audience.
Yeah,
and it's the best. It's like the most played single player game on Steam ever. That never happened. Like that hasn't happened with any other game. So our company's going to start seeing this and say, hey, you know what? Let's actually try and appeal to this audience, since they can buy our games.
Yeah. I mean, China has also been on I wouldn't call it a crusade, but they've been essentially aggressively trying to recontextualize how the world sees them. As opposed to seeing them as the bootleg country, the rip-off country, right? The guys that just make things. They want to try to evolve the vision of them. So what better way to essentially get people to look at them differently by presenting their own culture, right?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Moving on here. We got to talk about Game Pass Standard, people.
Standard. So what is this? What is this bizarro world that we are living in now?
So this is something I kind of skimmed. So I'm just going to read all this from The Verge. Microsoft's new Xbox Game Pass Standard tier is now available to test for $1. This new standard tier is designed to replace the Game Pass for console option for new subscribers. So let's get into it. Microsoft is starting to test its new Xbox Game Pass Standard tier with Xbox insiders today. The new Game Pass Standard subscription includes the usual Game Pass library for Xbox, but with online console multiplayer too. Crucially, it doesn't include immediate access to day-and-date games. During the test period, Xbox insiders will be able to access Xbox Game Pass Standard for just $1. And this is a quote from some asshole. Any renewals during the preview period will be $1 per month. Once the standard tier launches fully, it will be priced at $14.99. So that'll be like the middle-ish, actually like the fourth tier. Because here, okay, they have a chart here. So let's break this down. So core, that's $9.99. You get a curated catalog of over 25 high-quality games, online console multiplayer, and member deals and discounts. No day and date. Standard, which is coming soon, hundreds of high-quality games, online multiplayer, member deals and discounts, same deal. For PC, you get hundreds of games, member deals, and EA Play. And then Ultimate, you get hundreds of games across console, PC, cloud, day and date, member deals, discounts, perks, exclusives, online console multiplayer, and EA Play. All right, so there you go. So this is like a new tier that's like the second tier.
Basically, it's the it's you don't get day one releases and you pay a little less money. That's where it is, and I do not understand everybody's gigantic reaction to this. I mean, I guess that everything garners a reaction in the console war, whatever.
Yep.
Everybody's weird pearl clutching about this seems to make it like one of those like, so they raised the price and everybody got upset. And so they're like, all right, well, here's a lower price, but it doesn't have day one game releases. And everybody got upset. So I don't really know what people want other than like just keep getting more for the same or less. And yeah, that would be great. That sounds awesome, but that doesn't appear to be an option. So I don't know. On a more kind of top-down note, though, like I think this will be good for Microsoft to be able to determine who is subscribing for what reason, right? Like, so if you go from the $14 to $20 one, that's an extra $6 a month that they know that they can kind of earmark towards day and date releases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because $10, I mean, it. I don't know why they didn't just do it this way, but whatever. It's $10 for the online basic whatever. It's $15 for Game Pass games that aren't day one releases, and it's $20 for Game Pass releases that are day one releases,
Yep.
or 10, 14, and 20. It should have just been 10, 15, and 20, but whatever. So it's not honestly that complicated. It kind of makes sense. And the big thing I'd kind of say is like, I mean, do you want to look at it in a context or in a vacuum, or do you want to look at it in context? Like, do we compare it to the PlayStation equivalent prices? Because that's the closest analog we have, or should we not? Because they just don't have day one releases. I don't know, man. But you could look at it by itself in that they raised the price and then gave you a lower price option. I'm not sure if they always intended to do it this way, but this feels like a good kind of landing spot of like, yeah, the basic, medium, and premium options. That feels like it makes sense. Isn't there like a fourth one? Or I guess that's just Game Pass for PC, right?
Yeah. So like, if you're just a console guy, there are three. There are just three. There's a $10 one, $15 one, and $20 one. That's for consoles. But then the PC, if you throw it in, there's $12 a month.
Okay, that's weird, but sure. Okay. I could see why there would be all of those things. I feel like that's not a bad place to land, and I don't think that those are bad prices. I don't want to see it raise again though, because that's right at the verge of what I would consider, fair.
Yeah. Brian, did you have some thoughts on this? Because you said it was confusing.
My thing is more just that there's now going to be like day one Game Pass and asterisks on everything now, and that just makes that just muddies the waters even more. Because again, the whole thing is that okay, day one with Game Pass, simple, clear messaging. Like there's no ifs and buts about that. It's like day one Game Pass, done. But now it's day one Game Pass with an asterisk. Like only if you have these tiers, and it's. Again, we all understand it. We all can recognize it, but it's just kind of like it's just adding more confusion to the mix and making things even more convoluted, and it shouldn't be this way.
Yeah, Brett, do you agree with that?
I mean, yes. Yes and no. And not partially like I'm kind of torn. Like, should there be just a $10 and a $20 one? Yes. I think so, because just Game Pass or no Game Pass. But there seem to be a lot of people out there that feel like, $20 is too much to pay. And honestly, this what this feels like to me is this feels like disingenuous consumers muddying the waters and confusing companies. Like, this feels like, okay, straight facts, this feels like what happens when you get PlayStation fans yelling about how, like, wow, Game Pass is too expensive at $20 a month, and I have PlayStation, and I don't get day one releases, but it's only about $15 a month, and that's really all that I need. And Microsoft goes, okay, well, we'll give you that option too. And then now it's like, well, that's too confusing. It feels like an option that I don't honestly know who it's for. I don't know who wants Game Pass, but not day one releases. That sounds absurd to me, but there are apparently enough people clamoring that it's a thing now, and I can't help but feel like some of those were the people who were trying to compare it to PlayStation. But
wait, I'm confused. Are you saying that the pricing for this is Microsoft's reaction to PlayStation fans?
I think it's their reaction to the console war grumblings. Because isn't PlayStation Online with their games like $15 a month?
I'm not sure. I'll check on that. But they don't have day and date, so it's not like one-to-one.
No, they don't. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they're like, okay, so we need to raise the price for our Game Pass because of its day and date things, which then raised it above the cost of its competitor for a similar thing. So they're like, okay, well, we'll do something similar to what our competitor has. Even though I don't really feel like anybody wants it, I feel like it's just an option that seems like it's going to make money, but it's not actually going to make money because nobody actually wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a reaction though. I think this might be a stretch.
Not a reaction to the customers, a reaction to the market. Because, like, again, like, I canceled my PlayStation Online subscription a while ago. Like, what are the prices on that? Because I
got it here. So there's 3 tiers. And they're the same price as Xbox. Only the top tier is a little cheaper. So it's $9.99, $14.99, and $17.99.
Okay, that's probably not right then. I don't know where the $15 for non-day one releases came from. I figured that was going to be something similar to.
Oh no, it's here. Yeah, it's here. That's standard. No day and date games for $15.
So then, what do you get with the Xbox Core then, or the Game Pass Core thing, the lowest tier one?
A curated catalog of over 25 games, online console multiplayer, and member deals and discounts. So
kind of like the PlayStation Greatest Hits.
No, you don't even get that. You just get
we get like 25 games.
Yeah, you get 25 games
of their greatest games.
Yeah, compared to 100 for the other Xbox tiers.
Yeah, well, what's the very basic PlayStation one? That still gets you like the basic.
Yeah, you still get free. You still get free games.
Yeah,
you still get free games. You don't get the more well-known ones like right away.
Yeah.
I mean, these sound fairly comparable to me. It just sounds like
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Reactionary stuff.
Well, again, Brett, if to answer your question, why is this a big deal? Xbox tax. Anything Xbox does is going to be scrutinized. You know that.
Yeah, it's just another but it's like, even if it's an option that you don't like, I'm like, I don't know who wants this. Still, it's like, I mean, it doesn't hurt that it's a thing that exists, I guess. Like, sure, give some people the option if they're just like, for some reason, they're like, I want some Game Pass games, but not the good ones or not the new ones.
I mean, the basic one seems like it's just like, hey, it gets you online, and then hey, look, you got some games. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. I love how they're like, it gets you a exclusive catalog of over 25 games. Like, that is why even mention that? That just feels, even if they're 25 great games, that just kind of feels like just maybe not just lean on that so much because that's not a great sounding number.
I mean, at least on the PlayStation, if you're still playing for the low fee, you still can, get those. You still get games that you can keep for pretty much for as long as you have it, right?
Yeah.
So that means that with Xbox, it's like, what do? It's like the Netflix thing, or just so they get, they pop one of the 25 titles out and they pop another one in, kind of deal.
I don't know. I think if I remember correctly, and I don't have a computer or anything to check on it, remember when PlayStation did around the time, I almost say it was about the time PlayStation 5 came out, when they did those 20 games or so.
Yeah, I remember that, the PlayStation collection or whatever.
Yeah, I think Microsoft has a version of that where they're just here's a couple Halo games and a couple Gears games or something older classics that are just the big ones. But at this point, they're all probably last gen games, the same way the PlayStation collection, I'm pretty sure, is almost exclusively last gen games at this point. So yeah, it's here's a bunch of last gen games to get you started. Buy more games or subscribe to more services. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares.
No.
You're buying it to get online because for some reason they still make you pay to get online, and I don't understand why. I don't get it. What infrastructure are we paying for?
They're doing
Trophies?
It because they can. That's all it
Achievements. I know. That's my point. There's no good reason other than they can. So
yep. And they're not going to be like PC players. We're like, no, we're not paying for shit. It's interesting. All right. And the last story of the night, speaking about, since you brought up PlayStation, this story just confounds me. PlayStation Portal. Remember the PlayStation Portal? You can't play games directly on it. That fucking system. It's the best-selling accessory of the year. Amazing. A lot of people got suckered, didn't they?
Well, I feel like the way accessory might be categorized might be kind of skewed.
Why is that?
Because a controller is an accessory.
It is, yeah.
I doubt the PlayStation Portal has outsold controllers for
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I could read this article and we could, figure it out. The PlayStation Portal is the best-selling accessory of 2024. Circana's Matt Pescatella recently shared the United States video game market highlights for July 2024 with $4.4 billion spent across video game hardware, content, and accessories. Regarding accessories, the PlayStation Portal was the best-selling accessory for July and this year in dollar sales. The PS5 DualSense wireless controller Midnight Black was the best-selling accessory for this month in 2024 in unit sales. Overall, video game accessories spending grew 4% in July compared to last year, reaching $184 billion. Sony's remote play device, PlayStation Portal, and gamepads were the main contributors to year-on-year spending gains.
You saw the stipulations they put, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
They used a colorway, just a specific colorway of a controller to compare it. So that
Yeah, but the fact that this thing's selling, again, here's the thing. On the one hand, it doesn't surprise me because a lot of people are just stupid. They think this is a portable PlayStation 5. And then I'm also confounded because this thing is genuinely a piece of crap. I'm not even speaking hypothetically. We have one, dude, we have one of these in the office. It's literally collecting dust. The thing sucks. I brought it home. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, why would I want to play this when I have a TV right there? Granted, I understand if you have a bigger home, you have your kid play the fucking thing, while the PlayStation's on, while you're watching TV. I get it, but it's not what people think it is. It's not a PSP 2. It's not a Vita 2. It's a fucking streaming machine that's overpriced, in my opinion. It's literally a DualShock controller, DualSense controller, with a fucking screen in the middle. You can't play shit locally. It doesn't even work without Wi-Fi. It's stupid, So it confounds me. You know?
I guess never underestimate the lengths people will go not to have to spend time with their children.
I guess, you know. Yeah, 'cause again, you know, to all fairness, I do have an office colleague, you know, who works in a marketing department, and he's like, he loves it. He's like, my kid gets to play his games, and I get to keep watching TV. So I guess it's for people like that, you know. Maybe I don't get it because I'm not a parent, and I live in a fucking studio apartment, so I don't even need something like that, you know. It's fucking crazy, man. You know, has anybody else but me played with this thing by any chance? Am I the only one?
But
Brett, I'm quoting you, Brett. Am I the only one?
Yeah, right. I mean, no, I get it though, like, because my girlfriend and I have been playing, and y'all saw pictures of it. Like, we installed a monitor on a monitor arm and hooked that shit to like the end table and hooked the Xbox up like hidden behind the end table by where the subwoofer is. So it's a sweet setup, but it is a fairly drastic way to get a second screen into a living room, right? Because a lot of times a living room, getting a second screen there, unless you're just a big old nerd that has two TVs next to each other, or two, at that point, though, you'll have two gaming stations and two battle stations and two, desks next to each other. So a second screen is, I have just learned from experience, a little hard to configure for the living room. And if it, comes down to it, a couple $100 or whatever for this thing makes sense, unless you just want to banish the kid to their room. And I think ideally the goal is to have them spending time with you, as opposed to just, being shied away doing something else, or being forced to watch the game, or you being forced to watch SpongeBob or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So I get it. I get the market for it to a certain extent. I still can't believe how apparently vibrant that market is, because it's the same thing that was driving all the Switch sales.
Yeah, but the Switch is a real fucking console. It's you could play it. You could.
It doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's it just doesn't make any sense to me.
The Switch Lite is a great example. Like, it's not necessarily about rooftop parties. It's about being able to take the thing around in your house, and it always has been.
But you could take the Switch Lite outside your house too.
Yeah, but nobody. That's the thing. You wildly over anticipate the amount of times that people will be taking their gaming outside the house. I virtually guarantee you 90% of Switch use is in the house.
Really? That's a bold statement. Because it's in the whole thing of Switch, like, take it outdoors, go to the rooftop parties, that nonsense.
But even then, nobody really is doing that. At the most, they're bringing it over to their friend's house, but they're not playing it out in public where they're unaware. They're not playing it on the train where they can't be paying attention.
Yeah, no, I've seen plenty of Switches in the wild, though, even on trains, where I don't think you should be bringing those things, Yeah,
you shouldn't be bringing an expensive console like that.
Dude, I saw somebody with a Steam Deck the other day. I'm like, yo, my man, you are crazy, You
just painted a huge ass target on your head.
Yeah.
Anyway.
By the way, there's some controversy going on in the comments right now, Carlos.
Uh-oh. Whoa.
What's going on?
So Jay Shep said that we need to eat crow because we said this thing was dead on arrival, and Carlos said we didn't say that, and now he's going to pull up receipts. To be fair, I can't speak for Carlos. That sounds like something I would say. I probably did say that. And you know how this shit goes. I'm the loudest motherfucker on this podcast. So usually if I say something, all of Throwdown said it. And Brett, it works for you too. It works for you too. Whenever you say something like, everybody on Throwdown agrees with that. It's like, no, Brett said it.
I say things that people forget, and then I remind everybody that I did say it. Yeah. Nobody remembers.
So I can't speak for the rest of the guys, but I don't remember saying that, but I probably did say some shit like that. That sounds like a Tony thing to say, like dead on arrival. Because I know when we first talked about it, I shat on it. I shat on this thing so hard. As a matter of fact, Adam was here, and we were both reading about it. As soon as we heard that it was just streaming, I was like, fuck this thing. dead on arrival. I know Adam and I must have said some shit like that, at least, you know? So I'll give you that, J. Shep.
I mean, I feel like I might have
go ahead.
pushed back against that, but
yeah,
I think we all agreed this was going to be a toe dip. Are you sure that's not what you're thinking of?
I know for a fact we said that's a toe dip. We know, I know for a fact we said that.
And it's still a toe dip.
Yeah, and J. Shep, as I did when the Nintendo Switch eventually sold a lot, I will eat that crow, sir. I'm going to put some sazon on it because I'm Dominican, but I will eat the crow. You know, fry that motherfucker up. Let's go. Put it on a plate. I'll eat that shit.
Unlike some people out there, right?
No, some people won't do it.
Like some people who double down.
I don't double down. I was wrong about that. Remember, I was on record saying the Switch will not sell more than 4 million units. I was dead fucking wrong about that. You know, I ate that crow, like graciously. You know, with humility. You know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, J. Shep, I don't remember specifically saying this thing was on arrival, but I probably did say that. I probably did say that. I didn't think it was going to succeed. You know?
Tony is the master of those solid terms. So
yeah, that sounds like a Tony thing to say. And I know Adam said it. Oh, like that's it. What's Adam saying again?
This is it.
No, this is another one. Why am I free? It's an Adam thing. Why am I forgetting it? What the fuck? Here it is. Epic fail. Mm-hmm. You know, I know for a fact me and Adam shitted on this thing hardcore. You know, so I was wrong. And again, this is why I know that's the Pee-wee word of the night. Confounded. Hey! You know, I'm confounded by this shit. This thing sucks. It shouldn't be selling that well. You know.
I mean, you know, the thing about it is I started seeing it more in the wild as of late. You know, there was also
in the wild. You can't play that shit outside, man.
No, I mean in the wild, as in if you go to a store, you actually see them underneath.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
there was a long while where I didn't see anything, you know, in stores like that. So, you know, now they're in stores, and you know, can't resist the fact that they did drop it.
Yeah,
drop the price for a little bit. So,
wait, did they drop the price for it? How much?
Dropped the price.
I don't know how much, but I do remember that they dropped the price recently for a little bit.
So I know they dropped the price of the VR unit, but that's a permanent price drop.
They dropped the price of the VR unit, and they also temporarily dropped the price.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Logic Win says, "I'm sorry, it has to be little kids playing this thing." I think you're right. I think it's parents buying it for their kids. You know, that's got to be the answer. Like, or like I said, idiots who think it's a small PlayStation 5.
Well,
you know,
and I
tell you, boyfriends too, man.
Yeah. Fair enough.
How do you get away with like just hanging out all night playing video games without upsetting your girlfriend? You let her watch reality shows while you play on your handheld.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's admittedly, girlfriend and kids, that's a blind spot I have. I don't think that is a consideration. But you're right.
I couldn't get away with even playing a console while hanging with the lady. So that's not a true term for me.
Uh-oh. Yeah, but I think you're onto something, Brett.
I'd have to be engaged whatever she.
Oh, you have to be. You can't just do your own thing.
Can't just be doing.
See, Brett, he lays on the law. He's like, I'm gonna play my motherfucking games. You can't tell me nothing.
It's not like it's not like the whatever. It's not like Jossie watches crazy stupid reality shows.
Yeah, you like what she watches.
So if we're watching something, it's something we both want.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, I'm gonna watch the Godzilla marathon. He's like, I'm gonna watch it too.
Yeah, let's go watch some Godzilla marathon. Yeah,
there you go. You know, Brian, you were gonna say something.
Yes, I have a few things to ask about since I haven't been able to find this. Do you know how many it's actually sold?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because, again, I've been going through the article. I went through the links. I've not found a definite number as to how many it's sold. It's just it's biggest in dollar sales, which again is fine. But then at the same time, we don't know how much that number is. And I was looking at what they've been comparing it to, and I've been trying to do some rough maths in my head. So the other first thing the other thing that also popped up is what other accessories are out there. I mean, there's the controllers, the Portal, and PSVR.
Oh yeah,
Damn,
and
Brian.
the other PlayStation controller. Yeah.
Brian, even AI can't tell me a straight answer. You know when you Google something, the first thing's always fucking AI now. It's telling me the same shit. It was the best selling accessory. Cool. Give me the numbers. Can't get no numbers.
So I've been trying to do some quick maths on the go here. So in order for it to be the biggest seller in dollar sales, the controllers, the Portal is around $200, right? Roughly.
Yes. Yeah.
So controllers are they 70 or are they 60?
60 and 100, right? For the
elite.
The elite.
Yeah, so $60.
So let's assume that.
Oh no, 70 and 70.
Let's look that shit up.
The regular PlayStation 5 controller is actually a lot. Is 100 is $10 more.
But you guys got to remember that the controller sales only attribute to a specific
$70.
Of a controller.
Midnight Black, wasn't it, Carlos?
Yeah, Midnight Black.
Here it is. Midnight Black is which I own, by the way, $70.
Yep. $70.
Yeah. So let's just say 70, right?
Yeah.
So basically, for every Portal that sells, it must be at most 3 controllers to equal the same dollar value, right? So 1 Portal, three controllers, roughly the same price. I know it's $210, but
we'll go with it. We'll go with it. You know.
Wait, didn't they say that was by unit sold, not dollar amount?
I think so.
Don't worry, Brett. Yeah. Brett, don't worry.
Brian will
getting
get to
that.
It. Yeah.
So just looking at the dollar value sales. So 1 Portal, 3 controllers. So it must mean that in order for the Portal to however much the Portal has sold, there's no more than 3 times as many controllers that have sold, or else the controllers will have more dollar value than the Portal, right? So hence the controllers are no more than 3 times the controllers. Or in the other way, however many controllers have been sold, no more than a third of that amount is how many the Portal has sold. So again, I'm just trying to look at the numbers vaguely in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say that is, when we also bring in the PSVR, since that did neither unit sales or dollar sales as the highest, and the PSVR is it 400 or 500?
Well, it's like 300 now, isn't it? I know they lower the price at. No, it's 49, I believe. Well, let me check. Maybe it's like 349, maybe.
Okay, let's just put it at 200. Sorry, at 400, just to.
That's the original.
At least.
Yeah. It's fair enough.
So basically, with that, the PSVR sales must be about less than half of the PlayStation Portal sales, or else it'll overtake it in dollar sales, and the unit sales. It doesn't really matter since we're not talking about that. So basically, how things must go is however many the PSVR 2 has sold,
Brian,
about twice as many.
PSVR 2 is $530. That's not even discounted. Fuck.
Okay, I'll just say 400 makes maths easier.
What about 500? That's closer.
Again, it's just rough math. It's quick math. Right. I'm not doing the science here. Again, we don't have numbers, so I'm just trying to look at things. So however many the PSVR 2 sold, the Portal has sold at most twice that. So that's kind of the ratio of stuff that we're looking. So if we can get rough PSVR 2 numbers, we can guesstimate at most how many PlayStation Portal numbers there are out there. And that's why I said it's quick maths, looking at things roughly. And the fact that there's no other accessories to really compare to, it's kind of you may say that it was the biggest in dollar value, but if that dollar value is low, then it means that sales are low. So hence, again, if this thing was selling millions at a time, Sony would be talking about it easily.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not means we can imply, based on how Sony acts, that it's not selling millions. So it could be selling in the hundreds or tens of thousands. We don't know. So
yeah, it's a good point.
I'm going to say, again, however many the PSVR 2 has sold, the Portal has sold no more than twice that. Oh well, they'd be singing different tunes, in my opinion. So
yeah, because you're right, Brian. Because this news is not coming from Sony; it's coming from a third-party independent firm. By the way, real quick, J Shep goes. Even so, to be fair, it's still shattered expectations. I bet it shattered Sony's expectations. Sony did say it beat their expectations, but that's irrelevant. We're trying to figure out what the sales numbers are. Yeah, so even if it, here's the thing. I always say this. Even if it beat expectations, it literally could be Sony expected to sell. Let's just, for the sake of argument, simple math. Let's just say Sony expected to sell 500, and they sold 501. It beat expectations. Technically, it did. So yeah. So that's why I don't really go with that.
Yeah, it calls them to question what their expectations were, which I still suspect wasn't very high.
I don't think so either. Probably,
because
maybe 10,000 units or something.
Because if they did. If they did have high expectations, they probably would have put a more concerted effort into making them. It would have been a PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah. There you go. So, but Brian, you bring up another good point. We don't know the sales. We don't know the sales units of this and the VR unit. We don't fucking know. All we know is the PSVR 2 did not sell to expectations. Sony did kind of admit that.
Yes,
but
which is as we said was the issue with that was the price.
Yeah, and then Manny, what happened as soon as they dropped that price for a little bit? The sales went up, and I'm going to exactly like $2,000, 2,000% or some crazy shit like that.
Exactly. So,
but now the price is back up to $550, bro.
Yeah, $550.
That $529 I read you that's from Amazon. When you go to Sony's store, it's $550.
So yeah,
damn.
But I'm saying, I think in general, they need to know, in general, that they need to take a little bit of a loss on these things in order for people to get it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the previous VR did better than their expectations, because it was the right price, and it was the right time when people were talking about VR, and it was the best valued VR system on the market.
Yeah. Jay Shep goes, those cowards need to post sales numbers. They should. I agree with you.
They need to. Well, I'm thinking. Well, granted, a lot of those numbers that they don't talk about specific units inside of their company finances.
But once it hits a certain amount, then they'll tell you.
Yeah.
What's the back number, Brian? 4 or 5 million?
How's those Horizon 2 numbers?
Yeah,
I was just about to say, again, they're more than happy to tell us how many PS5s they're selling.
Yeah.
But anything else is nope, there's no numbers for that.
No numbers to see here.
But yeah, again, I'm not taking away that. Again, there are people that like this. Fine. Whatever, you do you. And to Brett's point, there's been times when I've been playing a PS5 game, and then my girlfriend wants to watch TV, so I bring out my Steam Deck.
Yeah, there you go.
It is definitely a use case of this, but I really don't think it's a general use case like a PS5 is. A PS5 is, you play games on your TV, end of story. Everyone can relate to that, Whereas the Portal is you remote play your PS5 games because you don't have TV access.
Yeah.
It's a very small use case. It's not everyone can say, I'm also in a situation where I have a TV, but I can't use it. If you live alone, how are you going to have a TV that you can't use? So,
yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah, people like it. That's fine. People are buying it. Do you, as I said, chances are when they eventually make it, when they start making more stock, and drop the price, then I'll buy one just for preservation's sake, because I'm sure the price on this will shoot up in 10, 15 years. So think ahead. I've learned my lesson from all these PS3 games that are like selling like gangbusters. I mean, did you hear that people are putting up the Deadpool game for like 50,000 on eBay?
We talked about that.
We talked
about that.
Specifically, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One version of it. The PS3 version, that you can still get that for a decent price. You can get that for granted, you can get it for like what was considered new price, $50 at the time.
Yeah.
So learning my lesson, and seeing all these like PS2s that are still in like the original wrappers being sold for crazy amounts. It's like, I need to think ahead now. Like I buy stuff now, keep them perfect condition, and sell them later.
Yeah. All right. There you go, man. And actually, before we go, one more thing. I got off tomorrow, so I don't care. Rich, get in here, man. We got to talk about your favorite game of all time. Concord, son. It's having yet another beta this weekend. And I think beta is the operative word for this game, But it is dropping soon, isn't it? Like a couple weeks from now? So I don't know about this game, bro.
I thought it's dropping tomorrow.
Is it dropping tomorrow? Oh, Jesus. So it's not a beta, it's the full game's dropping?
Correct. Is that why Rich is not talking? Because he's playing it right now?
He's playing it right now. That's why Rich isn't talking, yeah.
No,
August 23rd.
Yeah, that's correct.
That lets you know how much I know about this game and how much I'm anticipating playing it. The game. Okay, so Brian, technically, maybe you could play it right now. Rich, that's what you're doing, right? You're playing this game. That's why you haven't been talking.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. So Rich, man, what do you think about? Okay, now that the game is out, do you think it'll actually do well? Because we saw with the beta. Not so much. Not a lot of people are playing it. I know some bears may have been playing it, if you know what I mean, but not a lot of people. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this trash?
I think this game is dead on arrival. There will be some people playing it. I won't be one of those people, but I think there are some people that are going to play it and enjoy it for what it is, but I don't think it's obviously, like you said, it didn't really do too well when initially they had the beta, and also there are other games out now, such as Black Myth Wukong.
Yes.
So I just don't think it's going to be successful, but we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and Rich, I want to get your thoughts on this. Very interesting. Apparently, it has been revealed that Concord has been in development for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time for that.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like, they may have. This is speculation, but they may have just gone in the wrong direction a couple different times.
Yeah.
Who's the developer of this again?
Firewalk Studios.
What did they do before this?
They did a VR game, like a first-person shooter VR game.
Oh, okay. Was it that one with? Let's see.
All I remember about that game was I played it at PlayStation Experience with Mr. David Jagano, who was a friend of Throwdown and of the Coalition. And we had a good time playing that. But yeah, I don't know about Concord. I don't think it's suddenly going to become like the hot thing. Like, it's not only is it like another hero shooter, but Manny, as you've brought up many times, there's nothing iconic about the character designs.
Yeah, like what is it? And then also that they recently were acquired by PlayStation.
Yeah, Firewalk Studios.
Like last year. So I'm like, what? Yeah, what did they have that was so special? I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, dead on arrival.
Oh, you said the thing.
Oh yeah, I know. Richard said it too. We've been saying it. But yeah, so we'll leave it on that note.
J-Ship, make sure record this right now if
Yeah,
you want
record
some
it. Yeah,
receipts.
yeah. If you want the receipts, yeah. I said it. Dead on arrival. Actually, it's not dead on arrival. It's already dead. It's been dead. But yeah, like you said, Rich, some people may play it, but and they'll probably be very vocal, wanting other people to play it, and then they're gonna accuse people because they didn't play it, and so on and so forth. You know how it goes. You know how that goes.
According to this, I mean, the only game that they've developed is Concord.
Really?
Yeah.
Firewalk Studios? I thought they did another one. If that's their first game, I don't know about that, bro.
It says Firework was established as a subsidiary of probably Monsters. Maybe that's what you're thinking.
Of what?
There's a studio called a subsidiary. That's what they were from.
Yeah.
Called Probably Monsters.
Never heard of them. That's interesting. Firewalk Studios. I thought they did that.
And they were headed by a former Bungie chairman.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Rich, is Charles still involved with gaming journalism? He's PR. He's been doing PR for a minute, bro. A long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't been keeping
PR
up?
Man.
Yeah, he's been doing PR for a better part of a decade now, dude. He's been doing it for a long time.
And from what I hear, he's writing his memoirs.
Yeah, he's writing too. I always see him on Scrivener.
What?
Scrivener is a writing app. I use it too. And you know how Discord tells you what people are doing? So I always see him on Scrivener, It's kind of interesting.
He's writing his magnum opus.
Yeah. Yeah, Firewalk Studios. There you go. All right. Do we have anything else to say before we wrap up here? Anything about Gamescom or the weekend gaming?
Black Myth, Wukong.
We'll go play it.
Yeah,
A
fun game. I would say if you have a decent enough PC, play it on PC. But if you got a PlayStation 5, it doesn't.
My PC.
I know Digital Foundry makes it sound like all doom and gloom, because they are the guys that are looking at all your frames. But
yeah, I got to check that shit out.
It doesn't. To my eye, and granted, I am playing on a 1080p television. On my TV, it looks good.
On my TV.
On my TV.
And as we know, most of the next gen consoles only just run at 1080p upscaled anyway, so it looks great. 1080p already.
Yeah, Brian, what's up?
I actually do have a question that's related to Wukong. I was going to for the question show, but screw it since we're
already talking about it.
Wukong in it.
What's your thoughts on game companies releasing the benchmarking tool before the game's out?
That's
general practice.
Yeah, that is interesting. I kind of like it, to be honest. It may not be good for the studio because it may reveal something bad, but I like it. I'm like, hey, how's this shit gonna run on my PC? So I'm with it. I think it should be commonplace. Actually, then again, I think more games should have benchmarking tools in general because there's some games that don't have it. I would like that.
That used to be a bit of a thing, right, Brian? Like a couple of studios used to do that in the past.
I've seen it here and there, but it never
like beforehand.
took off.
Yeah. But Brian, I think it's good. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I think it's great. You know, I mean, the fact that you actually get to see how the game runs on your PC before you even purchase it. It's very consumer friendly.
I like it.
I mean, you download the benchmark, you find out stuff doesn't run, so it's like, okay, I'm not going to buy the game. Granted, that might mean lost sales, but at the same time, again, at least the consumer knows that okay, they can or cannot run it.
Yeah, but Brian, conversely, it can also lead to more sales, right? Like, oh shit, this runs great on my PC. I'm going to buy it now. Mm-hmm. So I think it works both ways. Regardless, yes, I think this should be a common practice. I like it,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely got to check out that Digital Foundry video because again, I've been playing on PC. There's some issues here and there, but it's not as bad. By the way, I seem to have a nice sixth sense about this sort of stuff. You know, like when it comes to reviews, like with Jedi Survivor, I was like, I should probably get that on PS5. Something just told me get it on PS5. Turned out the PC version was fucked up. With Wukong, I was like, I should probably get that on PC. And then it turns out you didn't even get the PS5 codes until launch day, you know?
So I'm going to say this. I mean, I think, you may not be consciously thinking about
Yeah,
this,
it's a subconscious thing, you know?
but I think at the same time as it makes sense in a, region reasons, right? Jedi Survivor is a game that was developed by EA, who usually make console games. The console game is the one that they're going to be, shining as much as they can.
Yeah, now, my subconscious is smart. It knows.
A company like Game Science, which we all know
Chinese.
that China is Chinese, which is also traditionally a PC culture because they didn't have the consoles.
Yep,
and they only recently got Western consoles over in their country. So they were there, and they're still very much a PC culture. Same thing with Korea too.
Yeah, that's true.
But Stellar Blade doesn't exist on a PC, which they do say a PC version's coming.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Final Fantasy 16 is also finally getting a PC version. So I remember I said that even when I was playing the game, I was like, I want a PC version of this already because that one I had to play it at 30 frames a second because it looked like shit in performance mode.
I will say I'm going to say that game looked didn't look that good. That's the demo. Didn't look that good on my 1080p television.
Damn.
So whatever resolution that they're running that thing in, it's not even. I don't think it's even 1080p at sometimes.
I don't know. It's bad. So I'm like, no. So
yeah, there's some pretty gnarly looking stuff they got going on there, but who knows?
Yeah, but there was something else I wanted to say, but I got distracted by Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Something about Wukong. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Logic went to he's like, my TV. So the other day, it was when I was playing Wukong. Actually, I left Torrance a message, and I said that I was like, on my PC, on my TV, and it's just fun saying it to the guy, who kind of he didn't birth that. I was a hip hop gamer who did that, but that was on the Warzone.
That's it. Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah.
And it will live
Is he
on.
Playing? Is he playing?
No, but I don't know if he is playing, but he's been hyped for this game.
Uh-huh.
But by the way, that whole exchange started because he messaged me going like, "Why motherfuckers talk about this game as a Souls-like? This shit's like Ninja Gaiden." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It is."
Yeah, it's more Ninja Gaiden.
Although, shout out to Riku because him and I are having a debate about this. He says it is not like Ninja Gaiden because there's no air combos. Because and I guess it goes to one of those things like. It's depending on what you focus on. And I'm like, yeah, he's right. He says this game is more about deliberate like attacks and dodging, like a Souls game. So he considers it a Souls-like game, But I don't because I'm like, you don't lose anything. So I guess it kind of depends. So yeah, to him, it's not a Ninja Gaiden-like game because there's no air combos, no air juggling.
I mean, that doesn't.
To him, that's what makes those games.
That's what says, a Ninja Gaiden game. I mean, most of your damage is really done on the ground.
Yeah, but you can do that.
I would say the better. I would say the more vertical of the games is the Devil May Cry.
Yeah, he also said that too. But remember, he's putting them all in the same boat, which I would too. I would put Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry in the same boat. But both of those games have air combos, and to him, that's a feature of those type of games. Wukong doesn't have that, It's a more strategic. So in that sense, it is like Dark Souls in the way it's like you can't just go crazy. You got to like hit, stick a move.
That's why I agree with the Ninja Gaiden term more because you can't in a Souls like game. I guess maybe you could consider what was it the one that they made the samurai game that the Team Ninja did. I don't know how that game plays.
Yeah, that's a parry. That's very parry heavy.
It's very parry heavy.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I think it still has some closer to Ninja Gaiden because Ninja Gaiden it was being just strategic about how you do your combos.
Yeah. But to Riku, it's like the combos are the important thing. Wukong's not really a combo game, not really. And Souls games aren't combo games either.
Yeah, but you can't just defeat an enemy with like one or two shots.
No, but that's a different conversation. He's saying combos,
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's also one of my problems with those games. Like you do a 50 million hit combo on a guy and you just take a little bit of health. Like what the fuck? Then you watch the cutscenes. Fucking Dante's just killing these guys in one shot. I'm like, what the hell is this bullshit?
I mean, Wukong does they definitely, if you hit that triangle button, it's slow, but you can take some serious damage out of them.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you this, man, when you knock a fucking enemy, like stagger them, that is so satisfying.
When they fall over.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I did it to that Buddha guy.
Yeah.
The
big head.
The big head. I figured out that his head seems to be his weak point. I don't have any air things. So if I could hit him with that heavy hit.
Yeah.
I can kid him over. You do it 2 times, and then you can just keep wailing on him on the ground.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. Great fun. All right, man, that's going to do it for us. Rich, what is happening with the Coalition? I'm imagining you guys a little bit busy now with all this Gamescom footage.
All this games.
All right, waiting for Richard to unmute himself. He might be playing Concord right now, so you got to give him a little bit of time,
You know you got to do it.
Oh, man. All right.
He's playing Wukong, man.
There we go. Yeah, Rich is a man of taste. He's not playing that trash fucking Concord. No one's playing that shit, All right, since he seems to be on mute, we'll just start wrapping up the show here. Remember, people, next week is the big week. Episode 500. Crazy talk, Yeah, so yes, we will have guests for the 500th episode of Throwdown, and then we will do Throw Down Your Questions will be the AMA special. So
what?
Should be crazy.
Crazy with a Z.
So stay tuned for that. And we're done here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can also find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you have been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the video, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when we go live. The links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
He shows up. He stopped playing Concord. And of course, Brian Manjoma.
Ashes to ashes, dust born to dust death.
Oh, shit. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday. Later.
Laters.